Guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. I hope you guys are staying safe. So, guys, we've just seen Conor Benn brutally knock out Chris Van Heerdan um, in brutal fashion. It was a devastating knockout by Conor Benn. Really, look, first round, a lot of Conor Benn's fights like that, you look like, yo, he looks like he could be outboxed. But then Conor Benn comes across a little bit wild. He's very wild, very fights with emotion. He took a few shots and, he was landing shots, but in the second round, he landed a peach of a right hand, and that was it, really. The fight was over. And he destroyed Van Heerdan, really, brutally destroyed him. Van Heerdan was in no position to continue. And I think the referee made a very good decision in stopping the fight. Van Heerdan, look, Van Heerdan's an old guy. He's been inactive. He's not, like Conor Benn's just too ferocious and too wild for someone like Van Heerdan at this point in his career. For a guy like Van Heerdan, he needs to be active. He needs to be on it. He needs to be sharp, in order to give someone a test. And by the way, he was never a top end fighter, even in his prime. So, this was expected. I don't think many people were very critical of the matchup, and you can see why. I don't really think Conor Benn's learning a lot from this, and I'll tell you why. Because he's bashing these guys up and beating them quite comfortably, but he's not really learning a lot. He's not really gaining anything from this. So he needs to fight somebody now that can give him a test. And I think them on commentary, I think they said the right thing about him fighting David Avanesian. I think that's a fight because David Avanesian's a good fighter, and that would be a tough fight for Conor Benn. I think that's the fight. Look, before I get into Khan getting into the ring, I think, look, Conor Benn needs an Avanesian fight. He needs that type of fight. The Brook fight, I wouldn't mind that. It's a decent fight. But again, I think even for Kell Brook, I think the guy's too ferocious, man. He's too ferocious, too wild. I don't know whether Brook would be able to handle that at this point in his career, because Conor Benn seems like he's got a good chin. And he's just wild, he's wild, he's aggressive, he's hungry, you know what I mean? And I just think he'll be too much for Brook at this stage. In terms of Amir Khan entering the ring, come on, please. Look, I'm a big Khan fan, as you guys know, but Amir Khan cannot fight Conor Benn at this point in his career. Amir Khan in his prime was a different ball game because he had foot speed, hand speed, get out of the way. But now it just take one blow from Conor Benn and Khan will be all over the place. His career's in the opposite direction. Conor Benn's just too ferocious for Amir Khan at this point. And I actually think if that fight was to happen, Conor Benn would probably knock Amir Khan out cold as well. Because Khan, like I said, we saw in the Brook fight, Brook's not an explosive puncher like Conor Benn. Conor Benn's wild and he throws wild punches and he's got a lot, he throws them with a lot of force. He has the kind of power that could potentially knock Amir Khan out badly. So yeah, I don't think that's a good fight. I know Khan was in the ring and Eddie Hearn was probably told him to get in the ring. So then, it promotes Conor Benn. Maybe it gets those two talking and it maybe Conor Benn says something, but they were both very respectful to each other. They're both going back and, I think Eddie Hearn probably thought they'd go back and forth and they'll have some kind of, Conor Benn calling Khan out, but they were respectful and then it goes viral. And, that's what promoters do. That's the sign of a good promoter, trying to promote a fight. Look, the Khan fight is not a good fight at this point because we all know what's going to happen there. We saw what Amir Khan had left against Kell Brook. He doesn't have anything left. Even the Brook fight, I don't really want to see the Brook fight because the reason why I don't want to see the Brook fight or the Khan fight is because I feel like both these guys would have beaten him in their primes. And I think now both of them would get badly beaten, and Khan would the way I saw him against Brook, he gets knocked out in a round or 2 rounds because Conor Benn's just too wild. He's too ferocious. Kell Brook might be a bit sturdier, but I think as soon as Conor Benn lands solid shots, because Conor Benn's ferocious, when he smells it, he just goes in for the kill. And I don't know whether Brook can handle that kind of heat at this point in his career because Conor Benn's really wild. He'll jump all over you if he smells a little bit of blood, So I don't really think that's a good fight for Kell Brook at this point. I actually think maybe Kell Brook looks at the Eubank fight and stylistically probably thinks that's a better matchup for him, because Eubank this hasn't really showed a lot of ferocity in his last couple of fights. He's trying to box. He's not looking that, for me, Eubank's not looking that great. Conor Benn's a different, Conor Benn's kind of bringing a different type of smoke, so for me personally, I think Brook's probably going to fight Eubank. And I think Ben should probably fight. Look, Mikey Garcia, Danny Garcia, Broner, these ain't going to fight Conor Benn, man. Unless they were to offer him a stupid amount of money, those guys are not fighting. It's all right taking those names. They ain't going to fight Conor Benn. They ain't going to fight Conor Benn. And even going off Khan coming in the ring, even it didn't seem like he was that interested, in a Conor Benn fight, So, I just don't know what he's going to benefit from fighting. I actually think, and as crazy as this sounds, and you guys might disagree, I actually think Khan's even stepping the wrong. I think Van Heerdan at this point is a better fighter, or Chris Algieri is a better fighter than Khan at this point. Obviously, Khan in his prime was way better than these guys, but at this point, those guys are probably better than Khan from what I saw against Brook. So Amir Khan's just way past it, way past it. He should not be in the ring. For me, he should be retired, He didn't really give much away. Like when he was being interviewed, he didn't really give a lot away. But yeah, Amir Khan should not fight Conor Benn. Like he should not. Like that would be a destruction. And I'm a big Khan fan saying this. I'm a big fan of his. It wouldn't be a fight. You got to think about his health, that would be a fight which could be dangerous for him, because Conor Benn, like I said, he's ferocious, he's wild, he's aggressive, he's hungry, he punches hard. Look at the way he knocked out Chris Algieri, look at the way Van Heerdan went down, Yeah, man, I don't think they're good fights for him at all. I don't think Khan should be anywhere near Conor Benn. I think Conor Benn needs to fight David Avanesian. That's the proper fight. That's a tough fight. And as Carl Froch said, that's a fight. That Conor Benn could actually lose as well. It's a proper fight. It's a proper 50-50. It's a fight that Conor Benn can win, but it's a dangerous fight. And it's kind of like high risk, low reward kind of fight. But really, if Conor Benn wants to prove that he's a top, because at this point, would Avanesian beat Brook? Possibly. There's probably a good chance Avanesian beats Brook. So for me, that would solidify Conor Benn as a top 10 welterweight if he can beat Avanesian. Because for me, Avanesian's like fringe top 10. I think you could probably even name 10 fighters in the welterweight division that are better than Avanesian. I'm being serious. So if you go Ugas, Spence, Crawford, Thurman, Danny Garcia, Porter's retired. So then there's Ennis, Virgil Ortiz, right? If Porter comes back, I think Porter's retired. That's 7, right? Then there's Stanionis, Butev. I forgot. I don't know how to say his name. Butev, I think. Butev. And then there's also guys like Josecito Lopez. There's guys like that, man. Alexis Rocha. There's guys like that. This is what I'm trying to say. Like, there's so many guys in the welterweight division that we don't even talk about. Rashidi Ellis. There's so many guys in the welterweight division. Honestly, the welterweight division is stacked. And this is what I'm trying to say to you, that even a win over Avanesian, there's like Kavialauskas. Oh my God, how I forgot Kavialauskas. Kavialauskas is a top 10 welterweight. He's probably number 10 or number 8 or 9. So, this is what I'm trying to say. Look, there's so many fighters I've even forgot about Kavialauskas who knocked out David Avanesian. This is what I'm trying to say to you guys. The welterweight division is stacked with talent. And fighting guys like Brook. For me, Brook is not a top, Brook is probably a top 15 welterweight at this point, right? Because he can't fight at welterweight. That's another thing. Brook can't fight at welterweight. He's not fought at one. He can't. He said already that at 147 he can't really do, right? Khan at this point is not even probably a top 30, maybe not even a top 30 welterweight. That's how much Khan has diminished as a fighter. So to be honest with you, and it was sad to watch that Khan was getting booed. A guy that's achieved so much. And even Conor Benn said, if I achieved half of what Khan did, I feel like I would have had a successful career. He respects what Khan's done because Khan did a lot as an amateur and as a pro. But the fact of the matter is that right now, you can't, the Khan of the old isn't going to enter the ring if he fights Conor Benn. It's the Khan of now that's going to enter the ring. And the Khan of now, like I said, is not a top 30 welterweight. So I really hope that fight doesn't happen, And I'm a Khan fan. I'd love to see him fight. But at this point, I don't want to see him fight because I know what the outcome would be if he fights Conor Benn. And I don't think it's a good matchup. Kell Brook fight, I wouldn't want to see it because I think Kell Brook loses as well. But I wouldn't be as against it, if you see what I mean, as I would for the Khan one. Right? Because Kell Brook still showed he's got something left. But I don't particularly want to see Brook or Khan fight Conor Benn. I'd rather him fight even Adrian Broner. I'm not interested in Adrian Broner. That is a horrible fight. Broner's been washed for a while. It's just that Broner, last time Broner fought, he got potentially beat by a gatekeeper, by a journeyman. Broner's done out here, man. You seen Broner's belly, how big, come on, man. Broner's not a top fighter anymore, in my opinion. I don't understand why they keep trying to recycle these names and trying to make it out just because it's a big name. They're big names of the past. Broner's a big name. Broner's not been the same ever since Maidana beat him. He's not been the same. That was age. How long ago did Maidana fight him? 2013, 12 or something? He's not been the same fighter. He's way past his best. He's inactive. Come on, man. Who are we kidding with that? Broner's not even a welterweight. Mikey Garcia, that's a better fight. But why Mikey Garcia going to fight Conor Benn? All these guys, this is what I'm saying. The Avanesian fight's realistic because Avanesian would fight Conor Benn. Those guys aren't going to fight him. They're too bigger names. They've done too much. They're not going to fight Conor Benn unless the money is ridiculous, which I don't think Conor Benn's that kind of star where they can offer them $7-8 million or something to fight Conor Benn. The money would have to be stupid. So I'm not that, I personally think the Avanesian fight is a perfect fight. Guys, before I end the video, I just want to talk a bit about the comments Froch made. I think Froch, I think sometimes his comments come across so distasteful. What he said about Khan at the end, where he said, Khan's just there to be knocked out and stuff. He was so, look, what he was saying isn't wrong in the sense that Amir Khan is past his best, but we all know that Carl Froch hates Amir Khan. It's quite blatant. He doesn't like him. But to be making those type of comments on national television, to be that blunt, when you're a pundit, you've got to be professional. You can't just say blabber anything out your mouth. Nazim Hamed said certain things about Eubank years ago, and he's never been on TV since in a punditry role, right? Carl Froch he's always been so disrespectful to Khan. I don't know why, but he's always been very disrespectful, and that kind of crossed the line there. Even Tony Bellew said you can't say that. You can't. Even Tony Bellew was laughing and saying you can't say that. Even he felt that because Tony Bellew's good mates with Amir Khan. I know that. I think they spent a lot of time on the England squad. I think they were pretty close. He even said you can't say that about somebody. Do you know what I mean? And Tony Bellew's good friends with Carl Froch. So I think the Carl Froch's comments is disgraceful, to say the least. But again, that's what Carl Froch is, though. That's how he's always been. I don't understand how he could say something like that. Just say, look, I don't really want to see a Khan fight. I think Khan's way past his best. He needs to retire. But to say that kid's just there to be knocked out, I think is very disrespectful. And I think it's unprofessional for a pundit to be making ridiculous comments like that. And intentionally making those type of comments, looking for attention. Because he knows as soon as he takes Khan's name like that, he's going to get attention. Negative or positive, he's going to get attention. There's no need for him to be making comments like that. But I feel like he does it intentionally because he knows Khan's got a big name. If I say something like that, what I say is going to go viral. It's going to get me out there. But why? Everybody in British boxing knows that Carl Froch is an Amir Khan hater. You're just making things worse for yourself. Because it's Carl Froch needs to let it go. because the more he keeps opening his mouth about Khan, the more he's letting us know that he has a hatred towards him for some reason. And the more people start speculating what is the reason behind why he even though he maybe, it's not the fact what he said. What he said was correct, that Khan is going to get knocked out if he fights on, and he should retire. But it's the way he said it. There's a way of saying things as a pundit. You wouldn't see Tony Bellew or Andy Lee saying that, because they don't have anything against Khan. They're actually they're close with Khan. But Froch doesn't like him, so Froch makes these horrible comments all the time. Froch needs to, he's not going to, because he doesn't like Khan, so he's always going to make disrespectful comments towards him. You know, that's just the way Carl Froch is as a person, especially when it comes to Khan. You know, I feel like whenever there's something about Khan, he's always making disrespectful comments. I've disliked Carl Froch, not just because of the way he disrespects Khan, but other fighters as well. He's not everyone's cup of tea, but that was out of order, man. That was out of order. Like, as a pundit, I feel like you have a responsibility, you know, on what to say. And, you know, I don't think that was a professional thing to say for a pundit, you know, on national television, saying that kid's just there to be knocked out now. He needs to retire. Like, yeah, fair enough. Like, if he said that Khan's way past his best and I don't really want to see that fight, you know, fair enough. That if he put it across like that, then fair enough. But he put it across in a way where it was disrespectful, you know. So yeah, that's just my comments on, just my take on that. Leave your thoughts, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.